Hi everyone. So after posting my response to Kristen Leo, I've been reflecting a bit on what my content even is. Like, who is it really for, and what purpose does it serve? Before posting my video, I wondered if making videos exposing ex-vegans is beneficial for animals. Like, yes, I think I make fair criticisms and share important information, but is this canceled out by the fact that stirring up drama like this will be perceived as culty and potentially foster an intimidating rather than welcoming environment? Is content like this activism? After posting, someone left a comment expressing a similar sentiment. My 2 cents as someone who would also like us to eventually reach a point where we as humans don't see ourselves as more blank, important, intelligent, sentient than animals. I understand the criticism, but I'm worried that these types of videos create an echo chamber, pun intended, rather than sustainable change. Yes, people's arguments don't always make sense. Unfortunately, people, including me and you reading this, all make justifications to fit our own narrative, based on prior experiences and information and the current situation. Though we lie along a spectrum, none of us are always perfectly ethical and always make the most logical decisions. I think if we want to create change in society, we need to acknowledge this and think about the reality of how people change their mind and make decisions. Conservatives are always looking for converts, whereas liberals are always looking for heretics, possibly by Michael Kinsley. I don't think the way we go about it is helpful for our causes. I've been much more influenced by housemates and YouTubers who introduced me to vegan recipes and didn't pressure, who advocated for steady, sustainable change over perfection, than by influencers and people who are hypercritical and shamed others. For me, Lena Norm's style of influence has been much more influential in helping me make sustainable changes. To not just feel bad about what is going on in the world, but actually make steps to change my own lifestyle. I am someone who is open to feedback and often seek it, but I still don't respond well to shame. I also know a lot of people who become resistant to change and hunker down on their current position if they or some proxy for their opinion is challenged. Personally, I don't know anyone who actually changes long-term behavior due to shame and criticism. They might change it in front of people, they might say they changed it, they might change it for a short time, but in private and long-term, it's not an authentic change. They might also eventually distance themselves from people and groups shaming them. At the end of the day, it's connection and a feeling of belonging that most often gets people to truly listen, understand, and change their beliefs, opinions, and behaviors for better or worse. In some cases, boundaries do a great job too, but that depends on how much people value keeping the relationship / staying in the group. Anyhow, maybe this is all just anecdotal evidence and wrong. I appreciated the agnosticism from this commenter because this is not something we have hard evidence on. In previous videos, I've explored the topic of shame and brought up the sleeper effect, which is the psychological phenomenon relating to persuasion, showing that there is often a delay in the impact of a message. Just because a message does not result in immediate attitude or behavior change does not mean that the message was not persuasive. A message can be discounted at first, but go to sleep in the back of our minds and be reawakened later on. Personally, I find the sleeper effect a compelling counter to the often cited backfire effect, which is the psychological phenomenon that beliefs are often strengthened after counter evidence is presented. However, as with many psychological phenomena, the sleeper effect and the backfire effect have been difficult to reproduce, so who fucking knows? This commenter gave me a lot to think about, particularly with the quote, "Conservatives are always looking for converts, whereas liberals are always looking for heretics." I don't think this is a universal truth, but at this cultural moment, it does kind of feel true. Perhaps because if you are on the left, you exist in somewhat of a leftist bubble, meaning you're gonna see leftists criticizing other leftists more than conservatives criticizing conservatives. But as Brett Cooper reveals in her return to YouTube, cancel culture is alive and well in conservative circles. And look at how conservatives treat the LGBTQ community. What is libs of TikTok if not looking for heretics? I think what makes this sentiment feel true at the moment is the fact that conservatives have won back power. They have successfully converted more people. But could this perhaps be due to the enormous wealth and funding conservative media has in comparison to leftist media, rather than their rhetoric being more welcoming and thus more persuasive? I made a point to speak out against puritanical veganism in my video, and tried to make regular people feel less judged by explaining that my ire is more so directed at influencers because they have much greater influence. But I understand that regardless of the actual content of an ex-vegan takedown video, people will perceive it as looking for heretics rather than converts. And when it comes to activism, we should be looking for converts rather than heretics. My thoughts on activism have evolved slightly since I started my channel. I maintain that holding individuals accountable is important, but I believe that political action with organizations like Pro-Animal Future is where we should be putting our efforts. So while I view some of my content as useful to activists, I don't really consider the drama videos that I make activism anymore. If I'm being honest, I make these videos for myself because it's cathartic.
You need to understand.
I have to hear one more time that you did this for the family.
I did it for me. I liked it.
I enjoy the process of writing scripts as it helps me organize my thoughts. I also enjoy engaging with the audience I've built and the friends I've made on this platform. I used to be a Facebook addict and would post very controversial shit and get into heated debates, and it was stressful but also fun for me. I say this, but obviously I wish the world was not devolving into fascism. I don't love that horrible things are happening. I'd much rather live in a socialist world and argue about less consequential things. And yes, I'm aware that this is a privileged take. Arguing with bigots may be a stimulating intellectual exercise if you have some distance from the issue. But when your own rights are the topic of debate, it's more emotionally exhausting. Anyway, I moved over to YouTube because it's a much better platform for discussing politics. Stirring up drama with strangers is a lot less stressful than stirring up drama with family and friends. I see some stupid bullshit and I have to respond. I can't help myself. As much as I love Lena Norms, she's great, I am not Lena Norms. Like, I can't see Lena Norms at any point in her life getting into flame wars with her uncle on Facebook. My best friend once told me that if I were a Spice Girl, I would be Savage Spice, and it's true. I try to be nice, but sometimes the savage bitch can't be tamed. It's just who I am as a person, okay? I can't change my personality. My content is going to reflect my personality, not Lena Norm's personality. If we're talking about activism, I am fully aware that there are much better uses of my time. Like if I were sitting in a room full of other animal rights activists brainstorming ways to help animals, I wouldn't be like, you know what we need more of? Ex-vegan takedown videos on YouTube. Get to work, guys. But not everything has to be activism. Vegan commentary channels can just be commentary. It's okay for vegans to make content that simply serves as catharsis for other vegans. At some point in the future, I would like to make activism my focus by working for Pro-Animal Future or something. Right now, I have other priorities, and in my spare time, I just want to make videos dragging ex-vegans and TERFs and shit. Now, of course I care about animals and humans, so if I thought that my videos were a net negative, I would stop making them. But I've yet to hear a compelling reason why my targeted response videos are harmful or unjustified. Anyone who is unconvinced by my approach is already not vegan. If someone is open to going vegan, however unconvincing I may be for them, it's not like they're going to be permanently turned off of veganism because I called Elise Parker a narcissistic pseudo-spiritual airhead. My content is either A, convincing people to go vegan, or B, not convincing people to go vegan. So my impact is either positive or neutral. If my ex-vegan call-out videos inspire no change because the useful information is offset by the intimidating delivery, you could argue that I'm not exactly helping animals. But you can't really argue that I'm harming animals. Like, how exactly would my content inspire someone to quit being vegan? If they quit because they don't want to be associated with judgmental vegans like me, they were already a goner. That may be the reason they cite, but that's not the real reason they quit. I know my videos have gotten people to go vegan because they've told me. And yet, as harsh as the internet is, no one has ever told me I quit being vegan because of you. And if creating content that serves as catharsis for vegans is temporarily preventing some people from going vegan, I think it's fair to assume this is offset by the fact that catharsis keeps people from quitting and emboldens them to speak up for animals. As for creating an echo chamber, I think this would only apply if I were actively discouraging my audience from seeking out alternative viewpoints. An echo chamber is an environment or ecosystem in which participants encounter beliefs that amplify or reinforce their pre-existing beliefs by communication and repetition inside a closed system and insulated from rebuttal. Any creator you follow is going to have a certain narrative or perspective. It's more on you as a viewer to avoid falling into an echo chamber by listening to a range of perspectives. Personally, I've listened to countless hours of Daily Wire content, and I've done multiple live debates with conservatives. I'm not insulating myself from rebuttal. I fucking love rebuttal. I have made videos that somewhat break vegan or leftist orthodoxy, like my defense of bad vegans and commentary on anti-white racism. I made a whole video on how we don't have to agree on everything. I've maintained relationships with people I have political disagreements with. So I don't think I live in an echo chamber, nor have I cultivated one with my content. I will also add that to the dismay of many of my viewers, I often play long, uninterrupted segments of the videos I'm responding to, because I don't want people to feel misrepresented. This does not happen in echo chambers. I have never seen anyone at the Daily Wire do this. A lot of times, and this is not the case with the commenter here, people who tell vegans that we are hurting our own cause aren't even vegan, and/or they're defending ex-vegans. Apparently, we should criticize vegans for condemning people who support animal abuse, but we shouldn't criticize ex-vegans for condoning and participating in animal abuse. Like, how can you sit there and argue that vegans are harming animals by shaming people for harming animals? That is some mental gymnastics. Regarding my video's impact on humans, particularly the humans I'm responding to, I don't see my criticism as unjustified. Like I said in my response to Kristen, by posting content on a public platform, you have entered a social contract where criticism of your content is fair game. Not all criticism is fair, of course. You can disagree with its substance. But instead of telling someone they are wrong for criticizing, explain why you think the substance of their criticism is unfair. Content isn't inherently hateful because it's targeted at a specific person rather than the system or whatever. People often suggest that I should make documentary-style videos about animal agriculture rather than influencer takedown-style videos. And to that I'll say, pick up a camera and do it, girl. I don't want to make documentary-style videos. As you can tell by the shit-ass production quality of my previous content, I am not a videographer or documentarian. I want to respond to some dumbass shit some influencer said, and I don't see a problem with it. I also have no shame in doing it for views. When you put hours and hours of work into a video, you want people to watch it. So sue me for making content that I know will get more clicks. People have made videos about me, and my reaction was, wow, that's dumb. Not, wow, that's so mean of them to disagree with me publicly rather than DM me privately. How low of them to use my name for views. Not that I'm popular, but if I were, I wouldn't give a shit if some smaller creator name-dropped me to attract more attention. I choose to post videos on a public platform. I expect people to disagree with me and call me stupid. Bring it on. Like I said earlier, spicy discourse is my jam. I'm not a troll, okay? I don't make content for the sake of triggering people. I do it because I like exercising my brain and debunking bullshit. I understand that not everyone who enjoys making content enjoys publicly beefing with people like I do. And that's fine. Just don't engage and move on. But don't make a pathetic show out of being a victim of targeted harassment because someone disapproved of your content. As I've said in the past, there is a very crucial difference between being nice and being kind. The AI overview of this distinction is well put. While often used interchangeably, nice generally refers to being pleasant or agreeable, while kind implies a deeper level of concern and thoughtful action towards others, meaning someone can be nice without necessarily being kind. Likewise, someone can be kind without necessarily being nice. While I always strive to be kind, I've come to the realization that I'm not always a nice person, and I don't want to be nice all the time. Fuck coddling influencers who are unkind to animals and lack self-awareness and critical thinking skills. My video hurt Kristen's feelings, so what? We all agree that standing up to a bully is justified, and Kristen is being a bully to animals. Nothing more perfectly demonstrates the nice versus kind distinction than Kristen's recent shift. She used to value kindness over niceness. She stood up for animals and garment workers with sass and snark, and now she regrets being so mean in the past and is begging her audience to be nice to her despite her abandoning the vegan movement and participating in very unkind things. She recently posted this video responding to her haters. But before playing the clip, I want to clarify that I do think some people were being overly critical, harsh, and assumptive in her comment section on her previous video. But as is typical for influencers, she is lumping all of the criticism together, failing to distinguish between actual hate comments and genuine good faith criticism.
YouTube didn't used to be like this. YouTube wasn't a place where you came as a content creator and like crossed yourself 5 times hoping that the Holy Spirit is going to protect you from all the nasty people in your comments. And it's like, I know there's like way worse problems in the world, okay? But this has been for the last almost 10 years of my life, my working environment. So imagine you're going to work and there's like a lot of coworkers that are great, but then there's a few of them that are literally throwing eggs at you and tomatoes at you and throwing knives at you too. Like really saying really hurtful things. And no matter how much positivity exists in a working environment, the toxicity is so loud and so potent that it really makes it unbearable. I want to read the comments. I want to engage with the people that watch my videos. I want to like be part of a community that I've built over here. And there's just like so many bad apples that make it such an ordeal to have to go through. Like, I can't disassociate from comments that are so personal. You know, it's not like someone saying like, oh, your PowerPoint skills could be better. No, these are people making really targeted comments and presumptions about me that are spiteful and mean and just like unjustified. 'Cause like, who have I killed? How many babies have I murdered? How many dogs have I eaten to deserve this much scorn from this many people? I don't feel like it's deserved, and I don't think that it's fair. You're busy hating on me, and I'm just out here digging in Goodwill bins. While you're hating on me, this is me in the Goodwill bins, just digging for stuff. That's it. This is who you're hating on. You're hating on a poor, rapidly aging lady that just wants to dig in Goodwill bins. That's who you're hating on. God! Imagine hating on me. Look at me. In my strawberry shortcake hat. Up for sale on my Depop shop.
Now, contrast this to what she said 2 years ago in a video titled "Mean Girls Are Taking Over the Internet."
Anger is an emotion that a lot of women are not very comfortable with expressing. And I do think that, like, as mean as HRH Collection is, her being so openly furious online for me is a little bit therapeutic. I don't know why, but like listening to her scream at the camera, sometimes I feel like doing the same. And I think the other reason why watching HRH Collection scream into the camera feels kind of therapeutic to me is because, like, for the longest time here on YouTube, it's just been like one happy, cute, positive Zoella type of channel after another. And there is nothing wrong with being a happy, positive, cute girl online. It's just that, like, for me at least, I feel saturated from all of that positivity for so many years. I've become exhausted of that level of positivity. And at this point, I'm just ready for just shouting, evil mean girls. HRH Collection also happened to be interviewed by another mean girl, Blair White herself. She's an American YouTuber and center-right political commentator. Blair is the "on Wednesdays we wear pink" mean girl and the "you can't sit with us" type of mean girl. As much as I disagree with Blair on a lot of things, she is such a bitch online, and I absolutely love that about her. She will not hesitate to make fun of people, make fun of their appearance, and again, if you don't have a mean bone in your body, you will probably not relate to what it feels like having all of these bitchy thoughts in your head and constantly trying to silence them. And it's very therapeutic for me to watch someone like Blair that refuses to silence any of her bitchy thoughts, it seems like, and just openly expresses them out on the internet forever for people to watch. And the fact that she does that, I think, is, obviously not great to be mean to people, but at the same time, it's almost cathartic to watch someone else be so openly and unapologetically just mean, And this is the point where a lot of people would bring the counter argument and say that, like, Kristen, she's like being mean to people. She's being a bully. And like, it kind of annoys me when adults use the term bullying to describe like mean behavior from one adult to another. Bullying is when mostly a child is being subjected to very uneven power dynamics and does not have the ability to avoid that environment that they are subjected to. If you are posting something online, you should be prepared to deal with the consequences of that, the reactions of other people. And like, if you do not know that the internet is a negative and hostile place, what rock have you been living under? But also, like, if you do not want to receive negativity and hostility for your opinions or your appearance or whatever, then you can simply refrain from sharing that online. That doesn't mean that I condone people being mean to others online, but at the same time, like, people are not gonna stop being judgmental just because like you have feelings. Like, I'm sorry for being so straightforward about this, but like, we are all adults, and if you're not an adult, then you should not be posting on the internet in the first place. That's my opinion.
This whole situation with Kristen makes me so sad. For the animals, of course, but also because I really related to her. While I disagreed with her use of Blair White as an example, as I explained in my video on cyberbullying, I totally relate to the desire to be an unapologetic bitch online. To use Kristen's words, there are some people I just want to read to filth. When it's merited, of course. The supreme irony in this is that she used the movie Mean Girls as a template for this video, and then a mere 2 years later fully embodies Katie Heron in this scene.
God, see, at least me and Regina George know we're mean. You try to act like you're so innocent, like, oh, I used to live in Africa with all the little birdies and the little monkeys. You know what?
Like, how could you hate on me? I'm so pure and innocent, digging through Goodwill bins. Look at me in my strawberry shortcake hat. I have to shout out the Tofu Goddess, who is sadly not on YouTube anymore. But ever since she clipped that scene in her response to Bonnie Rebecca, I haven't gotten it out of my head. It's so fucking perfect. Like, this is literally how these people act.
Who have I killed? How many babies have I murdered? How many dogs have I eaten to deserve this much scorn from this many people?
I don't know, Kristen. You tell me. You eat eggs now, so you're responsible for the killing of male chicks. You eat goat yogurt. Do you think that goats happily give us their milk, and then when they stop producing, they just live their best lives and die of old age? And you haven't denied eating flesh, so I don't know, how many babies have you killed? She has since posted a Substack article about her exit from the vegan cult, and offers no clarity. She says, "So what caused such a dramatic shift in my beliefs? Is it time to divulge? Do I dive into the details about my gut, my fatigue, my brain fog, my doctor visits, my supplements, the years of pain and hopelessness? The first non-vegan bite, the guilt, the joy, the diet I follow now? God, please no. The culty food and health sharing cycle that started all of this drama can end here. There's nothing wrong with a little mystery, don't you think?" This more or less tells me she's eating meat. The article is super evasive and nearly blacks out Mike the Vegan's ex-vegan bingo card. She spends the majority of the time defending herself against the charge that she was never really vegan, which Mike and I did not make, and poisoning the well with a select few hate comments about her appearance and sexuality, and mentions of Freely's cult-like fruit festival, which are irrelevant. In a response to a comment on her Substack article, she says, "Vegan documentaries are very educational when it comes to exposing how factory farming works, but very biased when it comes to regenerative farming practices. They villainize the entire animal agriculture industry, but it's not that black and white. I'm way more aware of where my food is coming from now, and prefer supporting small farmers instead of the Bill Gates-funded Beyond Burgers I used to eat." How exactly do vegans misrepresent regenerative, local, organic, insert whatever buzzword here, small family farming practices? We recognize that they are marginally better than factory farms, but stress that the animals still end up at the slaughterhouse. You know this, Kristen. Come the fuck on. How is a Bill Gates-funded Beyond Burger worse than the flesh of a murdered animal? Please elaborate. She probably won't though, because on Instagram she announced that she is quitting YouTube for the time being, claiming that while she had no issue with the negativity online being directed at her, she didn't like that her partner is being scrutinized. Which is funny because in her Substack article, she claims that her partner has no difficulty shrugging off negativity, while she herself is up at 2 a.m. scrolling through the words strangers have written about me online. Their sentences are catty, sticky with tacky self-righteousness. Surely they can't be talking about me. They don't even know me. Like, girl, drop the pretense that you don't care what people think about you. You clearly fucking do. And we've come full circle when she says, "It sucks to be silenced like this." I've talked about so many controversial things during my 10-year YouTube career, but I guess the most controversial thing I've done so far is to change. This proves that her sarcastic response to the comment comparing her to Elise Parker and Kalel, the catalyst for my video, was no joke. To frame abandoning the principles she built her platform on as simply changing is the most Elise Parker-ass shit I've ever heard. Change, as with criticism and judgment, is not inherently good or bad. Framing change as innocuous and positive, and criticism and judgment as cruel and negative, is incredibly disingenuous. Change is just a euphemism for reverting back to eating the flesh of sentient beings. Anyway, of course I had to end this video by further dragging Kristen Leo because, like I said, I can't help myself. Thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up and stay tuned for more vegan catharsis. Alright, peace out.